The inability of the middle class to work in a complex technical environment, a high-wage environment, by F Renda. The middle class has not gotten a raise in the past 40 years. The charts I have below are from the Piaac. It foretells the standard of living for the middle class will collapse in the near future. The majority of the middle class cannot work in a technologically sophisticated environment that is a high-wage environment. The Piaac Program for International Assessment of Adult Competencies is an assessment of literacy, numeracy, and digital problem-solving skills of the population. It's not political, nor politically correct. International companies no doubt use the scores to determine where they can create jobs. It also shows the international competition between countries. The new digital space race. Which ones can better the others? Which ones can better other countries' scores? Why go to an international assessment? There are many different reasons. One is, in the United States, we have tremendous grade inflation. At some colleges, the most common grade given is an A. In one large southern city, a number of teachers went to jail because they changed the marks on their students' test papers. Not only teachers went to jail, but principals and I think a school director also went to jail. At some schools, principals actually demand that some teachers must pass certain students. Even if a student was absent for almost over half the year, he would have to be passed. There's widespread corruption in the standards we have now in the United States. Just 50 years ago, we had one of the highest performing populations. Today, we're at the back. This next graph is the average scores on the Piaac problem solving in a technologically rich environment scales for adults aged 16 to 65 and by participating country and region. United States, you see over here, is last at 274. Japan is at 294. Finland is at 289. And the average test score is 283. This is hard to believe for a country that created Microsoft, the personal computer, Apple computer, home to Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, Google, Amazon, the internet. We created the internet, and it was created in many cases by a handful of white boys who dropped out of college. And we're at 274. It's not a tremendous embarrassment. It means that our citizens will not be able to work in the future at high-paying jobs. This next chart shows the international comparison of math competencies of adults aged 16 to 65 and 15-year-olds, and the average income. The reddish dot indicates the adult competency in numeracy. The yellow, adult problem solving in a technologically research-rich environment. The United States is right over here at a minus 0.2 standard deviations. We also have the highest income levels at almost $55,000 a year on this axis. And lo and behold, Japan has one of the highest scores and a much lower average income. And Finland comes in again at some of the highest scores and a lower average income. So here's the Finland graph, here's the Japan graph. Again, we have the highest incomes and the lowest scores. this foretells a tremendous drop in our standard of living. This next chart is not from the Piaac. It rates U.S. students anchor the bottom on most international tests, the algebra results for 17-year-olds. We're here at the bottom, and lo and behold, Japan and Finland are at the top. There is a strong correlation between how well students do in algebra and how well they can do in a technologically rich environment. A very, very, very strong correlation. And I don't mean that a kid has to get a C. They really have to get more like a B plus, A minus, A. Again, Japan and Finland are at the top. The United States is at the bottom. The source of this is the Incentives for Learning, John H. Bishop. This last graph we have here is again from the Piaac. Percentage of U.S. adults aged 16 to 34, young adults, at each level of proficiency on the Piaac problem solving in a technologically rich environment scale. This is broken down by race and ethnicity. This is for the year 2012 and 2014. We see white kids here, 9%. Only 9% of the white kids can be proficient in a technologically rich environment. For African Americans, it's very depressing. It's 1%. Actually, it was less than 1%, and they rounded up to 1%. For Hispanics, they do a little better than Africans at 2%. Well, let's look at the second level, level 2. For whites, it's 43%. For African Americans, it's 16%. For Hispanics, it's 26%. Again, this is a very depressing chart. There's not much that can be said about it. Again, it's an international study. You would not, if you looked at just educational standards in the United States, you'll be shocked when you first see these international studies. My name is F Renda. If you do a Google search, you'll probably see I'm some type of computer hacker. I plan on doing a column on this education, technology, U.S. students, and our international standings. And I plan on doing it for Tech Magazine. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.